Welcome to the first video in our SGS Draft Breakdown series, where we look at potential draft picks for the Falcons. Today we're starting with Demarcus Walker, defensive end out of Florida State. Nick, tell me what Walker brings to the table.
Walker is a pretty big guy, standing in at around 6'4", weighing 280 pounds, and he's also known for his ability to get after the quarterback, something he did 27 times while playing at FSU, and something he did 16 times last year, also adding on 19 and a half tackles for losses.
Yeah, one thing that really stands out to me is his finishing speed and balance, and he also has strong hands so he can secure sacks and tackle for losses when he breaks through the offensive line. You mentioned he was a pass rushing specialist. What's his strongest asset?
You know, one thing that I noticed about Walker when I was watching some film of him is his ability to line up along the defensive line, interior, outside, and even stand up at linebacker sometimes. And he also has this fancy swim move that he seems to get most of his sacks off of. So he seems pretty versatile when it comes to lining up, and he also has a move that he specializes in.
Yeah, and that's something that people like to say about the Falcons now, is that we're trying to be Seattle East. So, with the Michael Bennett type. Would it be a stretch to say that Demarcus Walker is Michael Bennett?
Right now, probably, because I view Bennett as one of the better defensive linemen in the NFL. And when I look at Demarcus Walker, I don't see that yet.
Well, that being said, what are the weaknesses in his game?
I think Walker is a pretty streaky guy, hot and cold. He seems to get blocked out pretty easily at times by more athletic offensive linemen. And he doesn't have this, to talk about the Falcons, to bring it back to the Falcons. Vic Beasley has this quick speed to make up for his lack of size and to get around these more athletic linemen at times. Demarcus Walker doesn't have that same speed Vic does, and he's not as much of an athlete as Vic is. So that kind of worries me about him. And he also seems to have a very limited pass rushing maneuver. So like that swim move I talked about earlier, I didn't see him do anything else besides that swim move. I didn't see him try any spins or anything of the sort. It's just that swim move, and when that doesn't work, it seems his ability to rush the passer is almost, nullified.
Yeah, I completely agree. He definitely shows a lack of an edge rush, which is why I think he does try the swim move inside, and he struggles to get off blocks outside, which might be a reason why he does line up inside, where it's a bit easier to get round guys. And for me, he just doesn't have the reach needed to be a great outside edge rusher. So I think that's something else that goes against him. So he does have his physical limitations. Now, for the only question that matters for us as Falcons fans is, do the Falcons need him?
I was very big on Demarcus Walker earlier in the year, and if the Falcons should get him, they should go ahead. But as I looked at him more, I'm not sure he's the most NFL ready he could be. And looking at the Falcons, a team that was in the Super Bowl this year and almost won the entire thing, I would like to think the Falcons want to get a guy who can impact the game more right away than a guy who may take a year or two to develop. So if the Falcons draft him, I wouldn't be upset, but I would also warn the fans not to expect a lot of sacks or a lot of impact even in that first 2 years of his play.
Right, and I think we've already got this guy in the name of Derek Shelby, and he had very little impact this year. He was one of the other guys who, when he lines up his side, is a better pass rusher than when he is outside. But the Falcons need a genuine outside presence to make this defense legitimate. Vic Beasley was invisible in the Super Bowl, and it's much harder for defensive coordinators to scheme against two edge rushers than one.
Yeah, and that's the issue that we saw with Vic down the line, is especially in the playoffs when Adrian Claiborne got hurt. And Vic was already a situational pass rusher to begin with, and so when he's in the game, what he's going to do, which makes it much easier to scheme against him and scheme him out of the games. And the Falcons really lack another guy. And if we did get a Demarcus Walker type, I feel it would kind of be more of the same, another situational pass rusher who just he wouldn't provide that impact the Falcons need right now. The Falcons need a 3-down guy, a guy who can be out there every single play, stop the run, and get after the passer as well.
I agree with you, Nick. So Falcons fans, don't get excited about Demarcus Walker if he does end up a Falcon. And join us next time on SGS Draft Breakdown. Thanks, guys.